It started with this, and it turned into this. In last week's window video, I mentioned a conversation that Tynan and I witnessed between Trent and the Leopard salesman back in Australia before we paid for the boat, where Trent asked him if the vertical hull cracks and the delaminating windows had been resolved at a production level. And he was told, yes, of course they have. You can just enjoy your boat. Guess what we found on Liger? Vertical hull cracks. Reflecting on the situation though, and what I now know about the business relationship between Robertson and Kane as the builder and Leopard Catamarans as the broker, which are now owned by different investment funds, it's possible that the broker was not doing this on purpose, but was instead passing on false information that he was given by someone at Robertson and Kane. This episode is going to delve into that issue, showing you what was discovered in our bows and transoms shortly after handover. Now, when they sailed out of Cape Town, Trent and Tynan were under the impression that this issue had been fully resolved. But like so many in our Leopard warranty experience, they were going to have to live through another whole attempt to fix it. Trent learned about the potential for the vertical hull cracks by looking on owners groups on Facebook, and that's what led him to raise this with the salesman. As I said, point of sale told him that the cracks had been resolved and were nothing to worry about. Yet when Trent flew into Cape Town, was standing on the dock looking at his brand new boat, on the port transom he could see a crack, which was weeping liquid. Imagine how that felt, especially given you specifically asked this question as part of deciding which boat you were going to buy. At that point, I think that trust in Leopard was already starting to go. Imagine starting the relationship off with two massive untruths that are going to cost you months and months of time, not to mention the stress, and then still trying to work with them. Making the best of it because the borders are closed, so you can't go home. Everything you own has already been shipped overseas, and you're in South Africa, where the political situation isn't exactly friendly to a foreigner looking to litigate against the largest manufacturer of boats for export that employs over 2,000 people and appears to be not only a source of foreign income, but also a source of pride. Now, why are these vertical hull cracks actually even an issue? Well, it comes back to how these boats are put together. Robertson and Kane, and they are not alone in producing boats this way, join the two halves of the Leopard 45 hull on the inside. My understanding is that it's done on the inside because doing it on the outside would require the bows to be hand-fed, which takes much more time and skill, especially in a production boat context. The design issue with this, which we weren't aware of before buying the boat and would dissuade us from buying a boat built using this method, is that it creates a potential weakness if the bows were to take an impact at a certain angle. A couple of other Leopard owners have sent us videos of what can happen when these boats suffer a front impact in the ocean. And it can peel back a substantial section of the hull, because the joint on the inside can create a shear point, which allows the side of the hull to peel back in the respective direction away from the impact. I've respected the request of these owners not to share their media in a public forum at this time, which is something that we've done for many, many owners who've sent us, various media and legal documents and whatnot. The ones that you do see, they're just the ones that more than willingly gave permission for their issues to be publicized. Trent consulted a Robertson and Kane fiberglass engineer on the optimal way to do this join, and his opinion was it's to fiberglass the join on the outside. That's how Liger is now, but I'll talk more about that later. Coming back to our warranty, it was the voids causing the cracks and dry fiberglass that caused the repairs to be deemed warranty. Just a few weeks after handover, our Leopard 45 went from the V&A Marina around to Royal Cape Yacht Club, which is where Leopards are launched, to be hauled out for a mixture of warranty work and aftermarket work, which ended up including the installation of our lightning protection system, the removal and then repainting of all the anti-foul and barrier coat as ours had failed and could be scratched off with your fingernail, and the port engine replacement, which we've done a whole video on. Now that the boat was out of the water, cracking was also visible on the starboard transom and the port bow. The port transom with the original weeping crack was opened first, and it revealed a large void and that the hulls were not in alignment. As you can see, the offset on the two halves of the port hull is quite severe. Of course, this was questioned, but Robertson and Kane said that it was within their acceptable tolerances for the hull alignment, so that was the end of it in their opinion. Notice the massive difference between the port and starboard. That offset in the port hull has implications and repercussions all the way up to the deck join. Things on these boats are interlinked, and when they screw up and then try to talk you out of it being a big deal, don't trust it, investigate.
That's how it should look. A slight cosmetic gap, which is fine. And you go to this hole, and you've got a massive lip, and it's misaligned all the way down, and all this was filled with gel coat. All that was filled with gel coat. Bring the camera around here and almost lose your entire finger, behind the drop.
It was something though that we earmarked as not being happy with, and in Trinidad, when the areas that were dealt with in Cape Town were ground back again for reasons I'll explain soon, Leopard's repair team assisted us with adding additional layers of fiberglass on the join from the bow to the keel to reinforce and strengthen the whole area. This idea of making repairs as strong or stronger than the original is something we advocated for and fought for the entire time in Trinidad. And it's a position that was shared by certain people we've met in our Leopard journey who still have that old school mentality that, from the stories we've been told, it sounds like many of the originals who were once at Robertson and Kane had. At this point, an extensive amount of gel coat had been removed from the transoms as the hull crack voids went from the top to the bottom of the sugar scoop. Since so much had already been taken back, Trent decided to reinforce the join and area behind the rudder, as this was an issue he'd noticed with catamarans. If the rudder impacts something, it's possible that the back of the rudder can then punch back up into the engine bay. We've not seen it specifically happen on a Leopard, but have on other brands. And with the other work going on, it wasn't difficult to do this at the same time.
The void goes like all the way and down under it as well. A big divot that was full of gel coat. Again like that was full of gel coat. So this has all become a warranty claim now.
After the exterior visible cracks were opened, it exposed voids behind the cracks between the two pieces of fiberglass hull and the inside fiberglass join. As they chased these voids up and down to flare them open and do the repair, they got longer and longer.
And there's just all this, that was all full of like gel coat.
This scalloped section of the hull had nothing in it but gel coat, and when the gel coat was ground back, the fiberglass was so thin light could be seen from the inside of the hull. Having investigated why there was a chunk of missing fiberglass, because Trent was never given an official explanation, the two most likely causes we were unofficially given were the hull piece being dropped in the factory or a chunk being taken off while trying to lever that section of the hull out of the mould. Obviously, it was not refilled with gel coat and a proper structural repair was done. At the point where the voids were a significant portion of the three corners which had cracks on hole out, the fourth corner was open because, as Trent reflects, if three had cracked without any ocean use, the fourth was likely going to crack when it was used in the ocean. They opened the starboard as well, revealing more than expected. The issues were then supposedly rectified, although, as you'll find out, a repeat was needed.
This is the starboard side, and again, you see big holes.
Did you see that? Yes, that's dry fiberglass in the bow of our brand new Leopard Catamaran. Now, Trent and Tynan obviously questioned it, and they were told it's fine, it's not a big deal, it's going to get fixed and you don't need to worry about it. Understand, this was very early on in our Leopard Catamaran experience. This was just weeks after handover. And while trust had been shaken by what the salesman had told us that turned out to be not true, there was still faith in the boat builder. I mean, they make the boats, they've been doing it for decades, they're meant to be the experts, and they've fixed this problem on other owners' boats. Had someone been honest about the implications of what dry fiberglass there could mean, yeah, we would have asked for a refund, and maybe that's why it was downplayed so much. When the cracks were ground out and the voids were exposed, the repairs were done by joining the hulls on the outside. This is something other owners in the same circumstances with the same issue have also chosen to do, and it's definitely not an unreasonable decision to make. After the fiberglass works were complete, NCS gel coat, which is the OEM product, was applied directly onto the epoxy. Turns out you can't do this. You actually need a tie-in coat in between the epoxy and the NCS gel coat. The company that did the work later tried to say that they had done it properly, but luckily Tynan happened to be vlogging and capturing footage and captured media of the person actually putting the gel coat straight onto the epoxy. Because it had not been done properly, the four corners then needed to be revisited when the boat was hauled out in Trinidad. Now at this point I'm going to stop with the bows, because this leads into a video that I'm going to have to do on what happened at the front section of the boat with our crossbeam. At the rear of the Leopard 45 transoms, there is a rubber bumper rail which covers the deck to hull join. Now this was removed in Trinidad to allow for the rest of the transom to be worked on and the work from Cape Town to be redone. And when it was removed, it revealed large cracks and voids where the deck was lifting up from the sugar scoops due to being insufficiently bonded. Shocking.
So we just took the rub rail, I don't know if you call it a rub rail, this fake plastic wood off the back, because there's an area on the back that has to be redone because they put the gel coat straight onto the west systems. So the dudes are here to repair all that, but we just took this rail off, and a massive crack that goes from here so far to here. We've never med moored, we've never hit anything. We've always been super careful docking. Well,
since you left Cape Town, we've only ever side docked.
We've just been on.
Do you reckon it's just the gel coat?
Yeah, it might just be.
So the crack on the back here is at a similar height the whole way across, leading the guys here to think that it is the deck module separating from here, so separating. You're doing a magic trick. It goes through. Feed it back in. Wow. Did the boys request you not take out it with a
Look, this whole
chisel
corner.
again?
Look, this whole corner. This hollow. Look at that.
Can you imagine?
There's nothing. No, but there's nothing in there. Like up. There's nothing. It's just. It's literally. You need to get a torch or something.
The repair for this involved filling all of the voids, re-fiberglassing the surface where all the cracks were, and then filling and fairing the transoms by hand. It was initially ground open in May of 2023, and gel coat went back on in January of 2024, almost 8 months later. The final part, reinstalling the bumper rubber, didn't happen until after the second repair team arrived in late 2024, around a year and a half after they came off. This was in part due to collateral damage that was done to the transom and still has not been rectified. A rectification that, at this stage, we are choosing to do ourselves. With many of the repairs done on our Leopard 45, including this one, you're essentially redoing an insufficient bond from the factory, so that the boat is really just rebuilt to a standard that is higher than the original. Due to the compartmentalized nature of these hulls, it is possible to grind out and replace that human element, doing the work as if that's how it had been done from scratch. It doesn't detract from the hull, it just redoes the join in the way that it should have been done in the first place. My primary concern for these boats, if getting one secondhand, is the failure to infuse sections with the correct amount of resin, as we've shown on our channel. If the original owner has had the joins redone, then it really is no different to it having been done properly originally. Having seen that part of our story, let me show you, just with some media, no commentary, what was going on the Leopard 45 next to ours. I'm not going to comment, I'll leave you to make your own.